My name is Edward Sederi. Lived in Brooklyn my whole life. At this time, I'm retired for the last 8 years. I worked on Wall Street for 45 years when I finally retired. I remember in, what was it, 1980, I guess 1982 or so, I was already, at that time, the average salary was probably 400 a week, and I was already pulling down about 85,000 a year. So I could do whatever I wanted to do. I could spend whatever I wanted. And then at one time, I went to my boss and I said, listen, I'm burned out. I can't handle it anymore. So in '92, I took some money from the firm and I opened up, it was a baseball comic book store on Long Island. And we started in I think October of '92, if I remember the dates correctly. And we survived basically until August of 1995. It was loads of fun. I was finally able to step back. We went to the comic book store. I needed help, so my father, who was retired at the time, I would drive the two of us there. And we sold comics and baseball cards and football cards and records, and then my dad started to paint for me, and he made a couple of signs for the windows. And then some of my customers were young people like yourselves, 18, 17 years old, and they started to come in, and a couple of them were really good artists. They actually drew these characters on the walls that were, I hope they went on to do something, because they were really, really good artists. We finally shut the door, and I came home. I remember looking in my pocket, and I had $674, and that's all I had to my name. I sat home for about 3 months thinking, all right, this is not good. No money. My two kids were still in college. My wife was working, but basically it was just about enough to pay the rent. A friend of mine just called and said, I know somebody down on Wall Street and they're looking for someone. I'm like, okay, and I take a ride down there. I sit down and I'm talking to the manager, and he's kind of looking at me. He doesn't really care one way or the other. Same way I didn't care one way or the other when I interviewed people. And then suddenly I mentioned someone's name, and he said, oh, I'm very friendly with Joe Peratore, and blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, I get hired, and I'm on the train coming home and thinking to myself, wow, I got a job, and it's like the day before Thanksgiving. And it's something to be happy about. Now I just sit and, I have fun, and we go out. Me and Jerry, who I found about 9 or 10 years ago. I'm very fortunate to have found Jerry. And that's been about it. Made a lot of money. I spent a lot of money. It was a good life.